Good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, thank you. This is Steve Acroft. I am driving, so I will put myself on mute, but if you could, during roll call, indicate that I'm here, that would be tremendous.
If you don't mind, I'm going to record, and then if we can get you saying that on the recording, would that be okay, Sam?
Oh, absolutely.
Yep, that works. Good idea.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm going to start recording.
Am I good to go? Here we go. Yeah, this is, good morning. This is Steve Acroft, letting you know that I am here at the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just so you know, I'm reaching out to Lorraine. I'm not sure where she is at right now. She's not on yet.
Copy. I just called Randy, who is our agenda item number 3, and he has gotten COVID, so he will not be joining us today.
Ryan, did you send out the agenda and notes in a previous email? I'm not seeing them in the invite.
Sherry sent those yesterday in an email. Let me just real quick forward them to you, Faith, so you have them at the top of your box.
Thanks.
Okay, and I also am not getting an answer with Lorraine by text or phone. Samantha, are we able to still go on without Lorraine if we need to, or?
So do you have a vice chair?
We do not.
Okay. There's nothing in the open meeting law that prevents you for if you want to take the group through it. It's not my favorite, my favorite approach, but if you don't have a vice chair and the chair is not showing up and you have quorum, I think it's okay to move forward if you want to take the group through the agenda. As for item number 5, if the presenter is not here, that'll just be removed and put on a future agenda.
Okay, so
will you have quorum without Lorraine though? That's the question.
Yeah, Ryan, do you know, have you kind of been marking people off or no?
I think we're good. I can run through
Why
the,
don't you go ahead and start the meeting? We'll go through roll call and then we'll decide from there.
perfect.
Okay, do you want me to take her place for now?
I think that makes the most amount of sense because you're the most familiar with the agenda.
Okay. So this is Janelle Woodward, the State Hazard Mitigation Officer. And I'm gonna take the place of Chair Lorraine Walser until we see whether she pops on or not. But I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 9:05 a.m. And we'll go to public comment. And actually, I'm sorry, we will go to roll call. Ryan, would you call roll call so we could see if we have a quorum, please?
Will do. Lorraine is not here yet. Stephen Acroft,
He's on the phone.
yep. He said he was here earlier. Eric Antle,
Present. Good morning, everyone.
good morning. Thank you, sir. Solomon Barton, don't see Solomon on yet. Faith Beekman,
Here.
thank you. Kathy Canfield,
I'm here.
thank you, ma'am. Sherry Davis is not present today. Craig DiPolo,
Present.
Sierra Sampson,
Present.
thank you, ma'am. Andrew Trelease,
I'm here.
awesome. Aaron Warnock,
Here, sorry.
you're good, thank you. And Melissa Whipple,
I am here.
perfect. We do have quorum.
Thank you very much, Ryan. So we'll move on to item number 2, which is public comment. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the chair. Comments will not be restricted based on viewpoint. And to provide public testimony during this period via telephone, please call in anytime after 8:30 on the day of the meeting by dialing 669-219-2599. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, please enter 686-738-8625 and then press pound. When prompted for a participant ID, please press pound. When asked to provide public comment, please press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again when your comments are complete. Please be advised that the YouTube stream will be between 60 to 90 seconds behind the live meeting. If you would like to present public comment, please call in using the above number to hear the meeting live. So we'll wait now and see if do we have any public comment? Do we have anybody in the meeting that wanted to provide public comment? And then hearing none from the people in the meeting itself, we will just wait for another minute to see if there's anybody on the YouTube meeting.
Janelle, there's no public comment in the online chat for the YouTube meeting.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, so we will end public comment and then move on to number 3, which is the approval of the minutes. Hopefully everybody received the email that had the meeting documents in them. The updated copy was just sent, I think, yesterday. And we are looking at the minutes from the October 12th meeting, working group meeting. So are there any comments or changes that anybody wants to make to those minutes? And do you need a few minutes to look them over, or have you had a chance to already look them over? Just let us know if anybody does need a little bit extra time. And it looks like Lorraine has arrived in the meeting. Hi, Lorraine. But I don't see it if she's got voice or not. Okay. So I think we'll wait for her to come back into the meeting. She looks like maybe she's having a little difficulty but if there are no changes or edits to the minutes from October 12th, 2022, I'll take a motion to accept those minutes.
Andrew Trelease, motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Andrew. Do I have a second?
Sierra Sampson, second.
Thank you, Sierra. Is there any additional discussion at all on the minutes? And if not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, it looks like the approval of the minutes passed unanimously. I'm going to pause here because Lorraine, are you on now?
Oops. Yes, I am. Sorry about that. I don't know why I was having so much trouble this morning.
It happens. It was the snow. I'm going to pass this
We'll blame the
over.
snow.
I'm going to pass the meeting over to you as the chair, and we are at item number 4.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 4, review of sub-applications for federal fiscal year FFY 2022 sub-applications for building resilient infrastructure and communities, BRIC grant cycle. This is for discussion only. Janelle Woodward of DEM, Homeland Security, State Hazard Mitigation Officer, or her designee, will lead a discussion and review of the BRIC FFY 2022 applications. BRIC application summaries are available in the meeting materials. With that, Janelle.
Are you talking, Janelle? We can't hear you.
Sorry, that helps if I unmute, right? Thank you, Andrew. So what I'm looking at is the BRIC FMA FFY 2022 applications, and it says in red at the top, agenda item number 4. The reason that we are not ranking these is that the ranking really doesn't come into play at all. This list of items they're all in the set aside. So everything that is eligible, which is all of them, is automatically will be funded. So it really doesn't matter if we list them in alphabetical order or how we put them in there, they all are treated the same. We only have one competitive application this year, and that's the State Public Works application for Hobart Dam. And you all heard this application presentation at the October meeting because this was also submitted under the COVID HMGP. And this was the one that we had kind of moved, even though it ranked higher, we moved it to last because of the funding amounts and how it worked in there. So they are also submitting here under a competitive portion, but there's only one, so there's nothing to rank on that. But we do want to make you aware of what projects and applications that we are submitting under the state set aside, and that state set aside this year for brick was $2 million. So for me, this is printed really small. So I need to, I don't know about you guys if you're able to expand that, but I just want to kind of go through these and tell you what it is that we are submitting. And Ryan did a fantastic job of putting a little description of what each project is in that document that you got. And so let me look here. The first one was a Dayton Valley scoping project. So a project scoping application. And this is for the Dayton Valley area drainage thing they identify. So, and it's being put forth by Carson Water Subconservancy. They identified 9 potential flood mitigation structures in the specified area. And then what they want to do is come up with basically scope out that project and see exactly what's necessary to do something. So they will look at likely several different options to deal with that flood hazard there. And then once by the time they're at the end of this project scoping, they will go back and say, this is the best option here. And then they'll be ready at a future application period to submit an actual project for that. So that's the first one. Second one is a hazard mitigation plan update for Eureka and White Pine. Currently, Eureka and White Pine have a regional plan, but this time they are adding the Ely Shoshone tribe to that plan. So we're happy to see that regional plan expanding a little bit. The next one is also a hazard mitigation plan, and that's Mineral County that used to be Mineral with the Walker River tribe. And now they're going to include Esmeralda. There are probably less than 1,000 people in Esmeralda. And so it makes really good sense to make that a regional plan. And Mineral County is leading this, and so they're applying. Now there is a possibility not the Ely Shoshone tribe. Oh no, let's see. Ryan, I think we got a little bit, we just copied the thing in there for Eureka into Mineral. So what it'll be would be Walker River tribe, but there's a little bit of a question on whether they're going to get their own application or whether they're actually going to join this county plan. So that also will become a regional plan, which is also great news when we can put some of these counties together and have less plans, but still covering everybody. Next project is Douglas County.
Can I ask a question?
Ooh.
Or
hang on 1 second. I'm having some technical difficulties myself.
I was wondering if I could ask a question about the Mineral County plan.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't be interrupting. What would be the advantages or disadvantages of the Walker Lake tribe joining the Mineral County or a regional plan? I'm just curious whether it'd be more powerful to have a regional plan or whether they would get more focus if they had a tribal plan.
Okay, I missed the very beginning of that. You were asking about the advantage of the tribe joining the county plan. Is that correct?
Yeah, advantage and maybe disadvantage, because maybe if they have their own plan, then they'll have all the focus. They're a huge part of Mineral County. So I was just curious.
So what happens with the plans is that even when a tribe joins a county, they still have their separate plan. that is just theirs. Really the advantage of it is that they don't have to do all the work themselves. So if they join a county for that, typically a county will hire a contractor to update that plan. Not always, but typically they will. So then what happens is that the contractor does all that work of putting the plan together and getting all the information and putting it in there. And also the county, one of the counties would handle the grant for that as well. So you see this in Washoe County where they call their plan, even though it's just Washoe County, they call it a regional plan because of everybody that they have in there. So they have the cities, they have 2 tribes in there, and that's how their setup has been for years. With Mineral County, they've been with the Walker River tribe, which the tribe still has to participate, but the work is being done by a contractor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
And they still are a separate plan because a tribal plan becomes something that's put in the back of the plan, and so it is just kind of added to it. But they still have their separate plan where they can go direct to FEMA. And I apologize. I have a new headset and it was giving me a bunch of static.
Hey, Janelle, Carolyn has her hand up.
Okay, go ahead, Carol. Do you want to unmute yourself?
I received the invite and the agenda, but I didn't receive the descriptions of these programs that you're talking about. Is it possible to get a copy of those?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Give me one.
I'll send that right now.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Was that it, Carol?
That's it. That's all I needed.
Okay. So those were the hazard mitigation plans. The next was a Douglas County generator for their community center up at the lake. And so that was something that was submitted back in PDM 2019, but then was withdrawn because they didn't have all the information that they needed. So they're applying for that generator. So we're happy to see that happen. What happened during the recent power outages also made Douglas County aware of some other locations that they absolutely need some additional generators. So we're working to get those applications with them as well. So the next several of them, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, are Washoe County, and it's the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District. And they are going to put solar power backup at their headquarters building and then 3 of their stations, which gives them that backup of their backup power for very needed during any kind of power outages. And then with the solar power, they're actually going renewable energy. So that's a great move in the right direction. So that's 4 different projects that they're applying for. And so the bricks set aside, so that's all the projects. The set aside was $2 million. When you take what goes against that $2 million is the cost of their project, the federal portion, plus any management costs that they ask for. So in this case, the total of the federal portion plus the management costs was $1,813,368.43. So that left $186,631.57 that we have open. We are still awaiting an additional application from Douglas County for a generator. I don't have a total cost on that. But ultimately, applications are due to FEMA at the latest, by noon next Friday. So I am working to pull all of this together, make sure we have everything we need from everybody, and getting our application ready to be submitted. My goal was tomorrow. That's not going to happen yet because there's still a few things that we need to pull together, but I still am going to try to get this submitted before the deadline because I hate people calling me and stressing me out more when I'm trying to get everything together. So, and then like the final competitive is that Hobart Creek Reservoir Dam project that has been submitted numerous times. Now, because there's so much money available for competitive projects this year, FEMA talked us into asking State Public Works to please submit what ends up being a fourth time. Part of what, honestly, I'll just tell you that part of what works against us is that we do not have statewide building code adoption in Nevada. So we lose those points right off the bat when they're doing their review of it and scoring the applications. So that's unfortunate. We still are working to try to get FEMA to change that policy. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with the next, couple of years. But you did hear about this project at the last meeting, so I won't go back over it, but that's our competitive one, and that's a $10 million project. Actually comes out to more than that because they have a $4,000 match, nearly $4,000, and it ends up being a $14,000 project. So any additional questions that you guys have on any of these projects that are moving forward for this? Craig.
Yeah, I just want to maybe put in an endorsement on the Hobart Dam project. I think, I think with possibilities of increased development and things like that, although it may not be as big of a hazard today, it could be in the future. So getting ahead of it is important. So I just wanted to, I think we ought to go ahead and give an endorsement to that for what that's worth. And do, even though there's not a statewide building code requirement, are there counties that do not have building code requirements? I thought all of them did. Anyway, if it's true that all the counties do have at least some building code requirements, maybe not all the provisions, but I thought we worked hard at getting the seismic provisions adopted. Then you may argue that with FEMA a little bit, that even though, if it's true, then even though there's not a statewide policy, in fact, the state is covered with building code. So that might be an angle. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I will say that when I went through, we do have 3 counties that do not have any building codes adopted. However, when I go through population and who does have the latest building or nearly the latest building codes, 97% of our population in Nevada was covered by newer building codes. So to me, I kind of think that's more important maybe than does every county have those latest building codes, even though, it may not even make a difference. So our chief had me a while back contact Esmeralda County, and what Esmeralda said to me was that we follow what the state adopts, but they don't have anything in their law or in their county ordinances at all that states that. This is something that we as mitigation are going to need to get out there and talk to these counties. I think the other two I want to say are Lander and Eureka, that do not have the building code adoption at all. As I said, like Esmeralda, some of them may say, you know what, we just go by what the state does. But I think that it would be good for us to do some outreach and have some of these counties that have older building codes to try to encourage them to adopt the newer building codes. And then maybe even have, if we could get those 3 counties that don't have anything, to at least say, we follow the state, or, you know, something to that effect. That could be some outreach that we can do. One of the things that FEMA is really trying to push is everybody getting the latest building codes. And I understand that. And I think that we all agree we want that. But half of the country is home rule. And that means that they adopt differently. They don't do it at a statewide level. Secondarily, just because you adopt at the statewide level doesn't mean that everything is going to be perfect. You know, it's a lot of it is about enforcing those rules. So Samantha, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot, but is there anything to add to home rule or how we do things in our state with, because half of the country is home rule?
I've got to be honest with you, I'm not the best person to answer that question, at least today. I could look into that for the next meeting, but it's an area that's got a lot of little nuances to it, and I want to make sure I report out accurately. So if you'd like me to speak on that at the next meeting, I'd be happy to.
Okay, I guess I would leave that, you know, up to the committee on whether they that's something they want to hear about to have a little better understanding. I do know that it's just under half of the country that adopts at a local level and not a statewide level. So it really does put us at a disadvantage. And so it's something that all of the states are working together to push back on FEMA by changing how they do that. It's not saying you don't want, but why are you punishing a whole state because a county that probably will never ask for for FEMA funding doesn't have, you know, the latest building codes? So go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, I'd like to hear briefly about that. This is an important issue, and if there's some perspectives we can bring to it to help FEMA understand better our situation. I think the last point you just made is really important. How do you punish an entire state for, you know, some parts that have their own approach? So anyway, I think a briefing on that would be good.
Okay, great. Ryan, if you'll make note of that, please. And then that's really basically it. If there are any other questions, speak up. Otherwise, I'll pass it back to Lorraine as chair.
Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and close out agenda item number 4, and we'll move to number 5, which is the State Hazard Mitigation Plan update. This is for discussion only. Janelle Woodward, DEM HS State Hazard Mitigation Officer, or her designee, will provide the status of the SHMP plan update. Janelle?
Lorraine, I'm not sure if you're looking at the most current.
I think that was the
Yeah,
original agenda, not the final one.
Yeah.
Okay, because it looked like, I thought you were maybe covering item 5 on this one with what you just said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
So
That's
I don't
okay.
know if you heard that Randy Brawley is our consultant that was hired basically to kind of run the update of our hazard mitigation plan. And unfortunately, he developed COVID, so he's not available today.
okay.
Samantha, am I able to, this doesn't say that I would do anything, says Randy would. Am I able to say anything on this or do we just skip it?
Well, I mean, I think it's a discussion only item. If you want to just give a brief update, but I do believe that we should agendize this for the next meeting, just so we can get the agenda item as listed. But if you want to add a few notes about it, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, so I've already told you, I guess, before I asked permission that Randy is, and he's listed on here. He's from Wise Oak Consulting. He's done a lot of other work for Nevada as well. But what I will say about this update is that we are going to need to be having several meetings over the next couple months so that we can make sure all of the work of updating our plan gets done. Some of you saw those the information that went out from Ryan. He put out the updates of our hazards for section 3. And so if we can make sure that we get that back with anything else that was needed to be added, any updates since the last time we looked at them. So we'll go through that, and then our next meeting, we will have Randy talk to everybody about what needs to be done over the next several months. We want to try to get everything done so we can submit by July. And so August 1st, actually, to submit to FEMA would be our ultimate goal. Are there any questions on this item? Craig?
Yeah, actually a suggestion.
Okay.
There was a discussion earlier of having a joint related to the plan. And I'm hoping that still might be something to consider. And my suggestion is if we do that, the point was to make sure that mitigation items that local people may want to submit are in the state plan. So my suggestion is, I think it's really important to have that joint LEPC meeting for a whole lot of reasons. But to support that meeting, I recommend that somebody go through the hazards and just make a bullet list of the mitigation items that exist in the state plan right now. And then that way, and get that out maybe 2 weeks before the LEPC meeting. And then it'll be easier for folks in Nevada to take a look at that and say, okay, gee, these are great, or, well, wait a minute, we want to do this and it's not on the bullet list. We need to add that. And then that would make it easy for the state to put it into the mitigation plan and support our local communities.
Okay, I think that's a great idea, and something that we had planned on doing before, which was basically kind of having a state meeting and inviting well, actually we were going to go as the state to every LEPC, but I'm not sure we have enough time to do that. But we could do a meeting where we host it and invite all the LEPCs to participate. A little bit of work ahead would be needed. And I want to remind everybody too that one of the things that FEMA suggested to us was to take a look at our hazards and what we have included in the section for mitigation actions, because truly we can only submit an application for something that is listed in our plan as mitigation actions. So it doesn't have to be a specific project. You want to be a little bit more general so that you have a, you know, wiggle room there, but the hazard has to be listed in the action section with some potential projects that could be done. So what we've had always in the past were just the high hazard items, but now they want us to expand on that and include some more of our things that happen more. Like we did do an amendment to our plan, adding the section for drought so that we could list or, you know, put in for projects for drought. But there may be some other ones like pandemic. We never had that listed in there because it wasn't listed as a high hazard. Then we went through COVID and you really couldn't put in for anything. So that's one thing that we'll look at, whether or not we need to come up with some items like that. So some of these meetings in the future may be a little bit longer than what we're used to doing a shorter meeting right now. And I just would like to say that this is just my viewpoint, but I think that people learn about mitigation better when you're all together and being able to talk face to face. Other people may disagree on that, but in the future, I'd like to just encourage us to think about some in-person meetings where we have that opportunity to spend a little more time together and talk together so that we all learn more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when we used to go out to the counties and meet with them, they always were very appreciative. They learned, we learned about their concerns and things like that. And at minimum, because there is a limited amount of time, I think a joint LEPC meeting would be good. And it would give a certain, I don't know, I'm not sure what the word is, but endorsement or support or importance or something like that. And I think as a collective body, that could be kind of interesting. There could be a certain synergy and maybe a certain encouragement that happens because of it. So anyway.
Other comments before I hand it back to Lorraine? Okay, Lorraine.
Okay, thanks. Do we need a motion or something to table this or move it to another meeting? No? Okay, thanks, Sam.
Now we're
Okay,
good.
so that was, thanks. That was agenda item 5, correction to my earlier misstatement. With nothing else on that, we'll go ahead and close that agenda item and move to item 6, which is public comment. This is for discussion only. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the chair. Comments will not be restricted based on viewpoint. To provide testimony during this period of public comment via telephone, please call in anytime after 8:30 a.m. on the day of the meeting by dialing 669-219-2599. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, please enter 686-738-8625 and then press the pound key. When prompted for a participant ID, please press pound. When asked to provide public comment, please press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again when your comments are complete. Please be advised that the YouTube stream will be between 60 to 90 seconds behind the live meeting. If you would like to present public comment, please call in using the above number to hear the meeting live. We'll
John
just
Backendall, can you
wait
hear
a
me?
couple minutes. Yes.
So John Backett, Deputy Administrator here at DEM. I want to follow back up on what Sam had mentioned and make sure that we get an agenda item on the next agenda to have nominations and elections for a vice chair, co-chair, according to the charter, to make sure that we have redundancy with this committee.
This is Janelle. Got it, John?
Okay,
Ryan.
well,
Oh, real
we're
quick,
not
Ryan,
hearing
just in public comments.
anyone. Oh, sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
You're good, Lorraine. Excuse me. I just want to throw it out there that we are available for one-on-one calls with any of the members of the Hazard Mitigation Working Group to help understand better where your expertise in your professional endeavors work with the Hazard Mitigation Plan update. I had a very successful conversation yesterday with a new member of the Hazard Mitigation Working Group in helping them to understand how they can bring their expertise as subject matter expert into advising a better hazard mitigation plan. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns on your role in this committee as it pertains to the hazard mitigation plan, please, by all means, reach out to us. I'm more than willing to have a conversation and help to analyze that crosswalk a little bit better so that you can be better informed to better advise for a better hazard mitigation plan. That was a lot of betters. Thank you.
Okay, well, I have not heard anyone calling in. So with that, we'll go ahead and close item number 6 and move on to agenda item 7, which is adjournment. This is for discussion and possible action. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Andrew Trelease, motion to adjourn.
Okay, and may we have a second?
Kate Beekman, I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
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 So tempted to say nay.
Anyone opposed, please answer by saying nay. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting of the Hazard Mitigation Working Group at 9:48 a.m. Thank you.